Hey, JJ here, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to show some of the quarters over the years and the designs and how they've evolved. Starting with this Seated Liberty quarter. Now, there's a couple of dates prior to the Seated Liberty here. Draped bust, capped bust that I don't have, but I am going to start with the Seated Liberty. So this coin's going to go from 1838 up to 1891, and this one's 1858. It's not in the best condition, but you know, it's not horrible considering it's a 166-year-old quarter. And there's definitely some varieties with this one in terms of the drapery on the front, whether it goes from the elbow or not, as well as the motto that's above the eagle. As you can see, this one's obliterated, so you don't see that. And pretty cool, 90% silver. And so once we leave this era of coins, after 1891, you're going to start to see your Barber or Liberty head quarter. All right, now this one's going from 1892 up to 1916. All right. So if you come across these in your pocket change, it's going to be pretty rare that you ever do, unless someone just got a collection and they spent it back into circulation, which can happen. You may come across something in your coin roll like this, but these are definitely vintage and ones that you want to hold on to. So I have that 1911 date, okay? And that's what that looks like. So after that Barber or Liberty head era, you're going to now transition to the standing Liberty quarter. Looks just like this. And I have that 1929 date. And you're looking at 1916 to 1930. That's what the reverse looks like. Again, there's a couple of varieties with this one as well, whether or not it has stars, and then another one that doesn't have stars. So that's what that looks like. And then now we enter the era of Washington, 1932 on up to 64 as far as the silver is concerned. This is a 90% silver, so I have that 1964, that final year of that 90% silver, as you can see there. Okay, and then going from the 1965 up to 1998, it's going to have that same design there, but it's going to be clad. And one of the errors that you can look for is whether or not this 65 clad, which you can see that pink in there, that copper, you can look to see if this one has the silver, because there were some made in error where the silver planchets got in there and it's on a 65, which should not be the case. So if you're 65, which is what this is, looks like that silver has that silver edge, then that's a big error. That's a transitioning error. So that's a big call out there, as you can clearly see. And your 65 will be worth a lot of money. All right, so that's your 65. And then we make a stop with the slight change in the obverse with the dual date in 1976. So you have that dual date, 1776, 200-year bicentennial. Okay, and then you're gonna have the drummer boy here instead of the eagle, which is this. Okay, but we'll revert back to that eagle reverse after that bicentennial year. Okay, leading on up to 1999, first year of the state quarter program, which is really cool. So this will go 1999 to 2008. I believe this was the first one, the Delaware. And this one is an interesting one only because, I mean, obviously one of the errors I like to look for is that spitting horse error between the CA. But this one has some interesting grease-filled die errors on the front. To the right, you can see "In God We Trust." And if you also, let me bring back one of the quarter designs here prior to the state program. If you notice, George Washington is looking towards "In God We Trust." And I know this was one of the major call outs when that design changed because now you have George Washington looking away from "In God We Trust," and so I know that gave some folks heartburn because some folks sort of frowned upon that. So that's just an interesting call out if you ever looked at that. If you noticed it, you're looking at "In God We Trust" and then away from. So that's an interesting call out there. But you have that state quarter program, 1999 to 2008. You had the District of Columbia in 2009, as well as the U.S. Protected Territories. That happened all in 2009. And then you graduate to, this quarter is a little beat up, 2010 to 2021 is the America the Beautiful quarter program. I have a 2016 South Carolina edition. Like I said, a little beat up. Okay, and then at the conclusion of this program, because as you can see, that design had changed for the state program, as well as the front design, the obverse, as well as the America the Beautiful program. But in 2021, at the conclusion of the America the Beautiful, the program, you revert back to that sort of traditional obverse design where George Washington is facing "In God We Trust" again. And then you have in 2021 George Washington crossing the Delaware. Okay, so that's that 2021. You also have Tuskegee Airmen in that year. And then from 2022 to 2025, you now have the American Women's Quarter Program. So this is a 2022 version. This is Maya Angelou. So that's just an interesting sort of timeline of how the quarters have changed in design. Curious what your thoughts are. Please like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy the hunt.